It's Christmas Eve, and instead of spending time with family or wrapping presents, I'm reading the Undertale Yellow Artbook. So I want to give a huge shout out to Lizzie, a developer on Undertale Yellow, who gave me access to this art book when all the links were dead. I will say that this art book is huge, and it's so huge that I was actually already recording this video, and the file was so big that midway through recording this, my entire computer crashed, and that video file is now corrupted because it crashed. I've already read up to around where the dunes began, where they started talking about concepts for the dunes. So I would recommend reading this art book yourself. I'm gonna lightly touch on the areas that I already read. You didn't really miss much. Like, again, there's 292 pages, and I was only on, like, what, page 20? So, again, really early. So yeah, go check out the art book yourself. I'm sure by the time this video is up, you can go off and read it. I will be lightly touching on these first couple pages because I've already read through them, and there's no point in lying to you all and faking reactions to stuff. Because this is more like a reaction video, you know? This is not meant to be like going and reading line for line, you know? I don't want to like take away from the art book. I'll talk about things that caught my eye. This clover sprite, really cool. I talked about this cave area in Dark Ruins and how it looked like an area from another Undertale fan game called Undertale Don't Forget, where in the second gaster door, there's another cave and the water area that looks very similar like this. And if you go off to the screen, there will be a Sans battle where he does the Fortnite default dance. That was like the only interesting thing that I talked about in Ruins. Then I talked about Snowdin. I talked about faking stuff for trailers, and how a lot of people who are in the game development industry, they will put unfinished stuff in the trailer or slap together something really quickly that they need to show off. Yeah, it's actually pretty common for people to do that. And then there was this concept art here. I'm fucking wondering what the hell this is meant to be. I talked about how this sprite art here is actually really good for just concept art. Like, that is really good detailed sprite work for concept art, man. It looks really good. Now this fun value here makes a lot more sense. There is a fun value where you can get into this room, and I'm happy we got some clarification on that. And then we entered the dunes, and I talked about, I really love this art. You can see like Clover being really small and big ass rock. So after that point, my computer crashed because this file was too fucking big for my computer to handle. So yeah, I was getting ready to say as my computer crashed that there was probably a lot of concept art for Dunes, because it's clear that Dunes was like the biggest area in the game. 2019? God damn, that's crazy. That's 3 years of development at that point, by the time like Dunes concept art was being made. Even from up to 23? Really? Yeah, a lot of this stuff seems to be 2018 and 2019. Damn it. So at that point, they were already doing it for 3 years. Actually crazy. It must have felt like a big relief at this point to like finally get to Dunes, because in the original drafts, I touched this on the video that got corrupted. In the original drafts for this, there was like ideas for the dunes immediately, like a desert area. It must have felt like a massive relief to finally get to this point, because this was meant to be the main area of the game, the big area of the game. And it took them all, they started this project in 2016. Here they are in 2018, finally getting to the main area of the game. That's crazy. What the hell is that? What is this meant to be? I am very interested. There's no paragraphs or anything on what that's meant to be. Main room, caves room, gemstones. So it must have been like end 2018, early 2019 where they finally started work on Dunes. Exit cave, mountain, room 28. Really? So aside from Nothing But the Truth and alternate take on a cafe theme was used to pitch Undertale Yellow in 2016, making it one of the oldest ideas for the game. Wow. Oasis shops, market mock-up, legal food. Who is that? Interesting. All right, first look at Wild East. I wanted a Western town to be a big part of the game. I mean, with the nature of the protagonist, it basically writes itself. The way wasn't easy, but I believe the moment we reached the Wild East was the moment we truly became confident in ourselves as game developers. Way back in 2016, I had made the very first concept art for the Wild East. It's pretty ass. Oh, so this was the original concept art for Wild East. Okay, pretty ass, but I was very grateful to be given the chance to take another stab at it years later to design the final layout. I do like the final product more. It feels a lot more westerny. This one feels like they put a town inside of a big ass cave that's full of sand. Oh, whoa, even more. I appreciate how they used the Snowdin hued clover for this. Really cool. Saloon, shops, Starlow's house. So this is the entrance to Chujin's place of work that I can't remember the fucking name to, and it's embarrassing. The name of this piece became iconic when the big Cerebro Starlow scene that takes place here leaked via... Really? We didn't find out until 2021, panicking and questioning if somebody from the recent playtest leaked the information. How silly we felt when we found out it was our fault. So that cutscene leaked in 2019? Really? I'm curious how that happened. Steamworks, that's the goddamn name. Why couldn't I remember that? All right, so yeah, this looks very different. This tile set looks very different from what we got finally. I do like what we got settled on. It felt a lot more natural. This looks like generic Undertale fangame tile sets. Yeah, this looks a lot better. This for sure. It is cool, but it kind of like feels generic is what I'm trying to say. This one looks a lot more unique. Going to be a part of Hotland, not shown in Undertale, and we called it Hotland for almost 2 years. However, the more unique ideas we came up with, such as the color palette and a focus on factory environment, it became clear that the area was going to be something much more original. So that explains that tile set. Okay, that makes sense. So this was originally going to be Hotland. Steamworks. Who is that? Is that meant to be Axis? Is that Axis? That looks like a digital circus character. Oh my god, that is really good. This is really, really good. Core, you can see the core. Concept art for viewing the core. That would have been cool if you were like, if there was like, imagine if there was a bridge between like in the Steamworks somewhere that takes you outside and it gives you like a core view when you're on that bridge, and it's like from 2 buildings in the Steamworks and it's just a bridge that's going over Hotland. That would have been cool. That would have been really, really cool. Concept art for Steamworks. Imposing structure. So this was the old Steamworks entrance back in 2019. Peak, actual peak. Oh, that's awesome. This is very awesome concept art. I love that. The greenhouse concept. The greenhouse was created for a need to house the area's mini boss gardener, and to show us the rest of the strange overgrowth sprinkled throughout the Steamworks. Once the energy crisis aspects were added to the lore, the plants were given a real purpose despite looking neat. It all tumbled into place quite nicely. It did. It's cool how stuff like that just completely falls into place. I'm so happy for Gardener because Gardener has like the best boss theme out of the entire UTY. So the split path idea stemmed from an old Snowdin map shown earlier where 2 directions would result in different experiences, but the player could only choose one per run. It didn't work there because there was too much we needed every player to see, but the Steamworks presented a good opportunity to shake things up and give more exclusive content to different routes. And I love that. I love that. I had talked about that in my Undertale Yellow review. Undertale suffered from a problem where it wanted to show every little piece to you. Like it forced you to see the neutral ending for you to see the true passive ending. I love how this one, depending on which route you do, it is different. You will have a different experience, and that is just better than Undertale. 100%. All right, I'm curious about this fucker here. The Hermit was actually one out of my 2 proposed designs for the Steamworks mini boss, with Gardener winning out in the end and leading to the creation of the green. Oh, so this is a scrapped mini boss. Well, I'm happy we got Gardener because of the music. What the hell happened here? What the fuck is that? What is this? There's not even an explanation. First thing that comes to mind is this. For this is the room with the awards on them, and it lists all the royal scientists, and one's burned off, and that's like the only reference to Gaster in the game. So I'm wondering if this was originally going to be the Gaster reference. But I guess if it was meant to be a Gaster reference, they probably would have said something, right? This is fascinating. I am very curious about this. And another thing that comes to mind is in the first area of Steamworks where you're going past all the lockers, and when you turn the power on, one of the lockers falls down, and that's revealed to be Axis. So I'm wondering if that's what this is meant to be, like an original Axis steal. I think that's more likely considering one's broken out of, you know, and Axis breaks out of a locker. That is interesting. But I wish there was a paragraph here. I wish there was something there. Elements always were things were going to end up. We never wanted to use Undertale content as a crutch, but of course it had to be present. I just fucking spilled our choice of being conservative with such things allowed the moment when they do show up to be impactful. Yes, I talked about that in my review. It is so good. So we leaned into nostalgia for the elevator entrance in the Hotland specifically and ended up feeling more earned than cheap, which was nice. That's exactly what I wanted to get across in my Undertale Yellow review. You put the words in my mouth. Damn, all the way up to 2020, you got concept art for this. It was super fun to revisit a familiar area and come up with differences to account for events that haven't happened at that point. The new house room being a particular favorite, if you know moment among the team. It's a shame. It's a shame we only got to do this kind of thing with a few rooms, but that just made it more of a treat to develop. Oh yeah, for sure. For moments like these, I think less is more is just better. Fucking Walmart. I can still remember an email chain from day one of development where Pippi, our other writer, and I came up with the scene of Martlet meeting you on the rooftop of MTT Resort right before the final boss. It was so cool to see one of the few surviving ideas from early 2016 come to life in 2021. That must have been so surreal, man. All right. Screenshot from a test animation of how the overworld sections of the Flowey fight could look. One of the many awesome mock-ups Day made throughout development. Overworld gauntlets being sprinkled into the fight was an old idea from 2016. I thought using the world as a bullet board would be a really cool and original twist. Yeah, I was about to say, then Deltarune dropped. I was literally about to say. All right, so we got Hell Room and Hell Room 2. Very happy we didn't get Hell Room 2. This just seems way edgy. Very, very edgy. I'm happy with what we got. Cerebus Pad, and we got Cerebus House, Mansion Work in Progress, all the way up to 2022. Jesus Christ. It's so awesome seeing stuff like sketched out on paper like that. That is really, really cool. I love stuff like that. I love concept art like that. No More Secrets. That is an awesome PNG name. So, new home map. Interesting. I wish we could have explored New Home further, but we didn't want to distract from the pressing matters that occur in the area. What the fuck? What did they do to Clover? Oh god, they fucking killed them. A very normal piece of concept art of New Home. I love the gray and yellow color palette. I wanted to loosely base the area of what we already kind of see in Undertale in 1800s architecture. Big and imposing buildings with limited street light technology. It was very cool to bring an area from Undertale to life that you normally don't see. Fucking Arrow. Of course it's Arrow. Of course it is. All right, characters. Let's see. I'm very interested for the character concept art. Oh, hell yeah. Here we go. People ask, why the yellow cell? A few reasons come to mind. The simple reason is that it is or was presumed that they got the furthest in their underground journey. More game. Stronger reason is their aesthetic and soul trait. The western angle seemed the more fun to explore out of the fallen children, and the idea of jaundice lent itself perfectly to the themes of Undertale. It felt like a natural choice for a full-length prequel. Yo, Ponytail Clover? Yo, Ponytail Clover, let's fucking go. I love Ponytail Clover. Yo, let's go. Oh my god, that's so adorable. Look at the chibi Clover, oh my god. Oh my god, these are adorable. I love this. Around the time of the Snowdin trailer, I was trying to figure out how to consistently draw Clover. Today, I now realize how evil the hair is to draw different perspectives. This is so peak. Oh my god, it's so adorable. Clover, Justice, gun hat. Justice, toy gun worn hat. Try to make this look as much like the overworld sprite as possible, as a contrast to Fig Burnsmore's stylized portrayal. Also, I had broken my knee a few days prior to drawing it, so I rushed a few areas like the bandana so I could get back to bed. Oh my god, Clover's adorable. Yo, Santa hat Clover! Santa hat Clover! One of the last concepts for the entire game, we were looking for new upgrades to help players have more armor in the game just in case they missed some in the shops. We also wanted to change the award for Slurpee Quest so any route had extra equipment. Even though you never see them, I drew concept art anyway. Did you know that the original reward for Slurpee Quest was just coffee beans? Dodge a bullet, literally. Yeah, Clover, yeah! Full 2023 art, let's go. All right, Fly. What the fuck is that? From day one, we were aware that the events and time frame of this game didn't happen in the Undertale story. Flowey most likely didn't exist when the Yellow Soul fell. However, we saw that stretching the canon made for a much more interesting experience. 100% accuracy would have been repetitive and predictable, so we took some risks. Tampering with Flowey was one of the biggest risks we took, but it's probably the best decision we made. The game just wouldn't be the same without him. So I'm interested with this. With Flowey being the secondary main character of the game, we knew he had to be one of the final bosses. Yeah, naturally he had to be. However, trying to follow up Omega Flowey was a tall order, so it took a lot of brainstorming to get it right. Yeah, that is definitely art. Yo, new Flowey expressions? Peek. The Flowey fight sat on the back burner until 2020 to 2021, when we got a much clearer grasp on the direction. Using slain bosses against the player in the form of distorted figures is a detail I really like. Gave some natural payoff to the player's actions in neutral, considering we didn't have phone call endings. Way better than the phone call endings. All right, Flowey fight 1, we got some bullet patterns. I handled the attack concepts for the first phase of the fight. I was pretty proud of some of them. In particular, I tried squeezing and playful, but twisted nods to Undertale's mythos, like having Flowey attack you with a box full of kids' shoes and disparity of sizes. From Toriel's house, or an attack modeled off of the special thanks credits from Undertale, except with all the names. Oh, that is cool. Wow, look at the plushies. That's so cute. Oh my God, the creativity. That's awesome. I experimented with spectral audio for the fight, but it came across too try hard. Don't want to go full creepypasta. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, that is peak. Oh, you can even see a smile in there. Oh my God. All right, so here's the Omega Fly. The original idea for Flowey's boss battle was to use color sprites instead of black and white ones. I thought we could do something a little more special, so I pitched the idea of instead doing the fight in a painted art style. I handled all of the hand-drawn gray Flowey assets and animation for the fight, which was quite the arduous task, as I had to learn horse animation to get a clean result for the Flowey horses. I'm gonna be honest, this Omega Flowey fight, it's better than the original Omega Flowey fight. I'm sorry. It just is. It's so good. They just did such a good job on it. It's so great. Final gray Flowey. To make room for the play area, we decided to have him hoisted up by the vines instead of having a regular sprout. It's so good. The music's banging. The art is peak. The story's great leading up to this moment. Oh my God. It became clear that we might have bitten off more than we could chew when pre-production on the specimen Floweys began, but we wanted to see it through, as we saw a great opportunity to showcase and celebrate our team of diverse artists. That's why it's so good. Oh my God. Thankfully, the fight only took about 6 months to finish out from phase 1 to the credits. All right, interesting. I heard a rumor that it took like 3 years to develop that fight, but guess not. Guess that was just a rumor. All roads led back to the Adobe Flash. It was an animation style I was more familiar with, so for my Flowey design, I animated in the similar workflow to those teaser trailers. For a circle moment, right? Makes sense because his face is full of circles. 3D Flowey. I'm so interested in this Flowey. Yo, God, that's fucking prune style blender. All of the clay elements were designed in the same blender file. This caused a few headaches since the main add-on behind the stop motion look was a bit unstable at the time. The final sprite used 2 16 color palettes to give a retro feel. One for almost everything and one for the red weak point for visibility. Oh my God. I just love the differentiating art styles. It's so fucking good. One idea from 2016 that always had in the back of our mind was doing some kind of 3D Flowey for this fight. Thanks to Dead Cat, that idea became a reality. He has guys to make a cutesy Flowey at first, but then he said, can I try something? It wasn't long before he sent the insane creation you see in the final game, and the team freaked out. Patch Flowey, wool base. I love the paper craft art style. It reminds me so much of like the Yoshi games. All of these remind me of the Yoshi games. It's so good. Well, Poly Flowey was the first thing I made for Undertale Yellow. I have years worth of experience with doing N64 styled modeling, and analog horror became a big thing in recent years. It just seemed like the perfect opportunity to combine that with Flowey. I've been learning the program off and on for a couple of years, and funny enough, this seemed simple to try and make, so I made my own idea of the Flowey fight to show my ideas. I also love the stick bugs that crawl down on the screen. They're based on the gifts that make it look like real bugs are on your stream, and I wanted someone to go, ew, what is that, when they saw that? Oh yeah, I saw this one on Twitter. The fricked up Flowey, yeah. I love this idea, but it would have ruined the pace of the boss fight's game over screen. During the Flowey fight, there was a pitch for a similar kill screen like in Undertale, but the game would close and jump scare you with this beautiful face before it did. This face is also based on a nightmare I had, a Flowey chasing me down a hallway. They Erebos that on Twitter. Oh my god. It would have been cool, but I'm happy they didn't do the pacing. And also, this is just fucking FNAF. We toyed around with different style ideas such as rubber hose, 16-bit, and this Atari Flowey, but we had to narrow it down. Okay, so this is not meant to be FNAF. I'm sorry that I referenced FNAF. Best friends forever. Great. Oh my god, that's so good. Dove horns, vampire, old Dove. So that's the original Dove, huh? Happy they changed the hair color. Fluid flame. What is this? Okay. Oh, that art's so good. All right, Martlet. All right, original Martlet sketch. Role of female royal guard who is close to Clover was originally pitched as using Red from Undertale Red. For the sake of originality, it was switched to a Jane Doe who would ride a bird monster, then a bird monster entirely. Take on Martlet, it was briefly considered the design for the hypothetical sister named Kestrel, who would have been colored green and carried a mature and focused demeanor. Crowded casting comparisons to the Skeleton Bros axe the idea. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. It would have just been a different Sands and Papyrus, so I'm really happy they just settled on Martlet. Yo, Martlet armor, that's so cool. The redesign that we stuck with, it was made before she was a tinkerer, so she lacked an indicator of that character trait. A missed opportunity in retrospect, but that was a common trope we fell into in the early days, locking in before things were clear. I still really enjoyed the design though. It suits her. It definitely does. Okay, oh god, there's dead Martlet. Okay. Coming on to development, I was under the assumption the Flowey World segment was going to be a proper area long segment and made many concepts of what a horror styled area could look like. Using a desaturated and flat color palette and taking inspirations from Undertale corruption programs of the time to invoke a chaotic, sinister atmosphere. To have all of our bases covered, I made Flowey-fied versions of Martlet and the Fly C4 to use in the Flowey fight. The Fly C4 went unused for not being killable like the other bosses, while Martlet didn't make the cut on account of her showing up later in the fake Snowdin scene. Yeah, and I'm happy it was very brief in the Snowdin scene. It would have been a little bit too much Martlet horror. Jesus Christ, they fucking killed her ass. Yeah, that sucks so good. Oh my god, final Martlet went through many designs before we settled on one, but it was always clear what feeling we wanted to come across. Like, what if Martlet reached her fullest potential? If she embraced the guard and took things seriously, what would that look like? Pepper and some space motifs and push things slightly over the top and voila. Yo, all these look so good. I really love that one. I love this one. God, all these concept arts are cool. Yo, look at that background. Oh my God, that's awesome. Yo, I love this one. I'm sorry, I keep going back to that one, but it's so good. Yeah. I had plans for the final bosses to have over-the-top attacks that were similar to the secret boss attacks from Deltarune. The attack is super cool and trippy, but it didn't really fit Martlet's move pool too much, so I went scrap. All right, Starlo, let's go. Here we go. When I came up with Starlo's design, he truly came alive as a character by hand of everyone on the team. He was always intended to have a try-hard, but actually insecure vibe around him. I had to look at a lot of pictures of Clint Eastwood. Yo, is that a pig? The twink Starlo, yep. Different Starlo sprites. I love the chibi version. That one looks cool. Hey, Fortnite gamers in the house. I wish there was more to say about Star, but he was kind of just perfect from the start. He came together super easily. Yo, look at these bullet patterns. The first idea for Star's fight was close to the mechanics in Muffet's fight, but it just didn't have the punch we needed. Luckily, they would come up with a much better idea. This idea is cool, though. I'd love to see that reused in a fan game somewhere. I was playing through Red Dead 2 during Wildy's pre-production. Goods, yeah, good. This but a horseshoe. All right, Cerebra. Cerebra went through a lot of different iterations during development. The idea of her stemmed from creating a character who left the corn for Dove, even though it ended up being her husband in the end. For a moment, there was a character called the Puppet Master. Then it was a magician master, and finally a kitsune-based monster. Also, she's a human here for some reason. It wasn't part of the plan. Okay. Cerebra maybe? Well, this is where it all started. The first concept art I made for the game, going off of the various notes and concepts from the other developers at the time. I also recycled a little bit of previous kitsune OC I had. Her tails were originally supposed to be hidden and revealed during the final boss fight, because that's a thing kitsunes can apparently do. And she's the type to hide how powerful she is. Different faces. Having a more humanoid design as base, I was tasked with the monsterifying Cerebra's design, gave her a more adventurous look compared to more traditionally Japanese clothing style. Her eyes were very important to get right too. Yo, that art is so sick! You can tell Cerebra was like completely detailed out, had a lot of concept art done for her. Oh my god, yo, I can tell you right now, so many Twitter, Blue Sky, and Discord users setting that as their profile picture. I fucking know it, and they will do it. Different dialogue portraits. Oh my god. The main reason Cerebro was chosen for a no mercy fight over Starlo, besides characterization, was because we developed all 3 routes concurrently. But we were making Starlo's fight, we wanted to switch things up, so we jumped at the chance to make our first Cerebro fight. Looking back, it all could have been handled with more grace, as the no mercy route did become somewhat of an afterthought at times, but it's still a cool fight that shows a scrappier side of Cerebro. I was a big fan of Undertale Yellow before I ever joined the development team. After playing the demo back in 2016, I knew Yellow was going to be special. I didn't know how yet, but I just knew. 6 years later, I somehow found myself at the forefront of helping design the game's pacifist final boss. Obviously, this was a team effort, and I worked off of a lot of existing ideas in writing, but I like to think I really brought a lot to the table. Making the final boss for a prequel to one of the most acclaimed games of all time was never going to be an easy task. It needed to be emotional, intense, and animated as I was possibly allowed to do. It was undoubtedly the most important task I was ever getting in my art career, and I was ready for it. Just a big thank you to everyone who enjoyed it, and it's so peak. As I said in my review, I have only cried twice when playing this as my job, and that was at the end of the Azrael fight and at the end of this fight. When fucking Hopes and Dreams comes in, it's like, ugh. Love it. Calling card to Arrow artwork design is big and over the top hair. Sarah was no different. I thought her hair looking like Tails would be a neat subversion and design trait. It's so good. Originally, Sword wanted Sarah to stay in her cloak form, but I thought it was kind of limited for cool opposing. The hidden cloak form did make for a cool opening reveal though. Fly! Flyer is giving fighting a try. Like obviously that's what they do in game development, but it's still fucking funny. Originally, the different phases of the final Cerebro fight was going to have a unique pose. A ton of animations but unused for those. They had to reel me back so I didn't spend too much time animating. Cerebro attack idea, Cerebro attacks, pink roba. Cerebro's fight had a lot of cut moves. Some ideas got repurposed, such as the diamonds that Clover can dash through. Those got reused for Martlet's final battle. I also really wanted Ribbons to play a part in her fight. The attack that used them was added as a surprise that Cat and Spasco put a lot of work into. That put a big smile on my face. Cerebro is a very emotionally charged character, and that gave me the unique challenge of shoving a lot of emotion into those times. You fucking nailed it. I took experience from hard moments in real life to really make those emotions feel genuine. Anger, sadness, regret, desperation, taking horrible decisions or moments and trying to make the best of them against impossible odds. For better or for the worse, is the human side of Cerebro I try my hardest to convey. Oh my god, that art's so fucking good. All right, here comes this fucker. Early concepts for Axis were such a shot in the dark for me. For some reason, I was very insistent on him being humanoid and having a cute angry face. I have yet to use a turnkey on a design. It was such a cute robot design quirk. His name is a pun on Access because he's a security bot. Yo, lots of different robot designs. This is like a lot of different robots designs, and you can tell the progress over time that they eventually settled on like the square head. But look at the very early. They could all be pretty much reused and made into their own character, honestly, and it would have worked. It took so long to settle on the color scheme for Axis. Every artist was throwing their hat in the ring for a day or two, but nothing felt right until we reached the final design. Just don't ask a Undertale Yellow dev about the Axis palette dispute of 2018. We don't talk about it. It's a joke sketch, much like the one seen in the illustration and sketches, but I like the gag so much that I wrote a whole scene around it for neutral. Axis fight mock-ups, different mock-ups. All right, mini bosses. Let's go. Decibat. What the fuck? This screams furry. This screams like furry art style. El Balador. That's my guy right there. Because Undertale based its soul modes on a few different genres of games, we had to rack our brains to think of new ways to play. Though it was tough to develop, I still think El Balador's Guitar Hero mode is a really fun idea. Apologies to those that hate rhythm games. I fucking hate rhythm games. For real though, I'm not good at rhythm games. I sucked ass at this when I first got to it, and that literally just chopped up to a skill issue because like I cannot do rhythm games. I can do Geometry Dash. That's the extent of how good I am at rhythm games. Like I have tried Friday Night Funkin', I can't do it. Even Balador pose. El Balador asserts dominance. El Balador stemmed from an old idea for a Gecko-like mini boss who had a samba rendition of enemy approaching as a theme. The fun sound of that unused track definitely inspired us to lean into the dancing angle. Feisty 4. Notably, most Feisty 5 members did not originally have cyan in their palettes, but was added in later when I was tweaking final colors to tie them all together. We got Ace. Besides Starlight Arlo, I think Ace is my favorite C5 member. There's an alternate universe where Moose was in an Undertale Minecraft roleplay rather than Undertale Yellow. I think I prefer this timeline. Moray, my favorite extremely tall fish. Despite the name, they were originally meant to be a piranha with their they them pronouns. In time where I wanted my designs to be more monstery, hence the web hands. I was undecided on their gender at first. Yeah! They them pronouns! You got Ed, Booch Concepts Arts, attacking with tail. Gardener. Oh, hell yeah. I really love Gardener's so peak, mainly because of the song. Let's go Macro Frogget. This fight was definitely the furthest we went with absurdist humor. It was super fun to let loose and make something weird. Well, Frogget was originally a joke idea for Macro Frogget's sprite before being worked into the fight ending. Different frog attacks, Frog Attack 1, Froggets, unused, Metaton, and the producer. So we have unused meta. Ooh, meta Blook. When you think prequel, you usually think of seeing past versions of characters you love and exploring their past, and we did that at first. We planned to include Metaton in his ghost form as a mini-boss, but quickly realized that if we wanted to include Flowey, it wasn't feasible, probably for the best. Oh yeah, agreed. I'm very happy Metaton just didn't even get a line of dialogue. Very happy. This was an idea for a mini-boss to the mini-boss, Metaton's music producer. He made it all the way to the final game, just not in the state. Enemies. We got Flyer. Flyer feels nothing. We love Flyer. Pencilla, Corn Boy, Cactini, can't touch anyone he loves. Cactini was actually one of the first enemies designed for the game. See UI and cut. Ooh, I'm almost there to UI and cutscenes. Almost there. Yo, Cleaner Bot Sprite. Oh my god, unused bots. Nice, nice. Although those actually made it in the game. They're just different Steamworks enemies. Look at that. Yo, I'm not asking you for a sequel to Undertale Yellow, and I doubt you all will ever make a sequel to Undertale Yellow because I kind of like it being a standalone thing. But if you make any other projects, you gotta reuse some of these concepts, man, because these designs are awesome. If you all ever make another game, you gotta reuse these for sure. It was fun to create a special enemy who wasn't quite a mini boss, but wasn't a normal encounter either. Plus, culinary attacks are always a good time. Unused enemies, Knight. Maybe not that one or these, but you can definitely reuse those. Concepts 1. Oh, look at these unused enemies. That screams shopkeeper vibes. Miscellaneous characters. The Ketsukanes, Chujin, and Kaneko. Oh man, I made this concept art in the group drawing program. He looks so polite here. He wasn't supposed to be a fox like Cerebro because it would draw similarity to the Dreamers. So he's supposed to be something else related to foxes, since not a fox. His outfit here is inspired by Japanese and Chinese traditional clothing. The absolute fox in the universe. I think I picked pink because it evoked childish innocence, but I like the colors she ended up with in the game. Something about her design I can probably spell. She does her hair in a ponytail to be, oh, that's so cute. And her shawl is so she can stay warm in certain places. That's great. Yo, overworld sprite for the final boss? Oh god, it's Mo. Mo is actually based on a real raccoon. During the summer of 2016, a raccoon broke into my attic and had babies. It was a whole ordeal trying to get them all out. Long story. Since my AC unit was also in the attic, I couldn't use it that summer. We all started making jokes about the raccoon stealing my AC. And those jokes slowly transform into the shady businessman we all know and love today. Undertale Yellow Shopkeepers, Shopkeeper concept, NPC Wild East. All right, Toriel. Even though she only appears for a brief moment, I like the new old fit we gave Toriel. Sword Surd. Aside from being self-inserts, the band was inspired by KK Slider from Animal Crossing and the two musicians from A Link Between Worlds who play tunes from the game in their own style. That being said, my insert isn't even an accurate one. I cannot play the piano. I do not have swag. Cabin NPC, Cactus Man, Thunderbit, Sandstorm, Sadie. I love Sadie. Miner dudes, Miner, Brian, and Mine NPC, more miners. Miners are peak. Four-mans, Desert Design, Sand Lad. Yo, look at so many unused designs. Jesus. Again, you all have to like read all of this yourselves because I also don't want to like, you know, read word for word. We passed on the Hermit as the mini boss as it lessened the impact of the abandoned and monsterless Steamworks to have a mandatory monster encounter. Illustrations and sketches. Let's go. Yo, different color covers. Nice. Much of the art was to imitate official Undertale artwork, but as we move forward, I was finding my style as UTY was finding its own. In the end, I feel it culminated into a look that is both original and represents the spirit of the game. Bartlett and Clover wallpaper, second Undertale anniversary. Oh, Undertale Red. Working on the red design is like working on Undertale fandom royalty, so it was important to keep it both faithful and unique enough to do the cameo justice. Any comic pages, Undertale Yellow bosses. Back from McDonald's. Starlow Clover scene. I really wanted to capture our intended vibe of the scene with the strawling in earlier versions in the game. There are far fewer NPCs around the saloon, so later we added more to fill out the scene to make it feel more bustling. 8th. Oh, that is so good. I love that. I might make a new version of this later, as I was kind of sad that I didn't get to include Cerebro or Starlow because they weren't revealed yet. Where is Asgore? Toriel locked him in the kitchen pantry. Release date thumbnail. I made Flowey Pog. All right, this is the Snowdin teaser one, right? Yeah, storyboards for the Snowdin teaser. Nice, nice. Oh, that's so good. You can tell they had so much fun with this. Damn. What the fuck? Thank you, Sans. I missed my shot, Clover, my one shot. Unfortunately, Kaneko kept screaming about Fortnite during class. UI and cutscenes. All right. Cactony was one of the first enemies designed and used as the first test enemy for the battle engine. I have accidentally left their sprite in the demo version, leading to them being leaked early on. Fight test. Monica. A lot of the devs were fans of the game Doki Doki Literature Club on its release. As a joke, I turned our root picker debug menu into this. What the? It's fucking Rouse! Rouse was used as a test for swapping Clover's sprite set. In the final game, this function is now only used in the small puddle in the first Dunes room. The color adjustments in different areas use Dead Cat's palette swap shader. Later on, I also put Kaneko time in the debug menu just for fun. Playable Kaneko. I also used Rousey as the first test party member for the party follower system. The functionality was inspired by Deltrine's party member system. What, bro? Where is my UTY? Undertale Yellow Toolbox.exe. The UTY toolbox was made so the writers could see if their certain lines fit within a dialogue box properly. And also so I could just copy and paste entire batches of dialogue with the correct formatting for the code. Originally, I intended there to be more tools in the toolbox, like a cutscene editor, but that never came to fruition. Shader visualization program with tweakable parameters. It includes backgrounds and effects from Earthbound, as well as the recreation of Undertale's barrier with a screenwriting and glass shattering effect. Gardener, what are you doing here? I could use any sprite I wanted for the wind simulation, so I used the funniest one I could think of for a surprise. That's great. That is so good. Prong battle background. Phase 1, phase 2. I assume this is all Martlet stuff. Oh, that's great. A few tests to showcase 3D and GMS using sprite stacking left in OBJ files. Oh, that's cool. Flowey BG, that's disturbing. Shaders, battle circles, missing poster. We wanted a system for characters to contact the player, but felt like the cell phone went from Undertale was a bit fancy and high-tech for Clover. Basically, how did humans talk to each other before phones? Sure, let's do that. I love how they didn't use phones. Epic Games, Dreamcast. So I guess these were all used as placeholders. That's cool. Flyer is giving finding a try. At some point, Dead Cat made it possible to import images into the ID creator. Oh, we get the comparison 2016 to 2020. I wonder how many people noticed that on their first one through of the final release. At first, the game was going to follow Undertale's simple style a lot more closely, using the original sprite file animation for the inciting incident. When we saw it in action, we realized that we were going to have to make an original animation for the right impact. That was the point where we began to bring more of our own flavor into the game. Mo encounter. So you got the script for Mo's encounter. More mock-ups. What the hell? What, just shit? Starlow Dialogue 1. What's with that face? Did I take her spot or something? As a joke for our playtest, so Spascos put a Sans appearance in the game as a fun value. He pleaded with me to keep it in, but it would have raised too many questions and implications for the story. I am so happy that was scrapped, but it is really, really funny. Flowey mock-up, more. The echoes of another sequence is divided into 2 maps that simply teleport Clover around instead of loading separate rooms, a trick that most games utilize when they have to show different environments in quick succession. Yep. Yeah, so this is all ruins. Really, really cool. In the original Asgore ending, Martlet would have put up a bit more of a fight on Clover's behalf, and Asgore would have called the royal guards to escort her out, screaming and kicking for Clover as she's dragged out. Even though I do like Martlet's persistence a bit more in the draft, they told us it probably wasn't a good idea for Asgore to be so callous towards another monster's well-being, and it was a little over-dramatic. So something a bit more subtle was done in the end. Yeah, I definitely do like how subtle it was in the end. Gonna take this to the Indie Games Out of Context Twitter account. Day and I mulled over this particular part for Cerebro's story off and on for years, trying to strike a balance of terrible, mistake, and debatable. Justice is often complex, so he wanted to create a backstory that could be fought for or against, much like a legal trial. Unfortunately, it was meant to be a bad thing, but it did lead to a lot of discussion and debate whether she deserves forgiveness or not. I call that a success. Hell fucking yeah. Mock up an idea for an intermission scene during the credits. While we decided the less we show, the better, I bet this would have been a good conversation to listen in on. Oh, for sure. I think the ending they came up with was perfect enough though. That would have been really cool. In the beginning, I knew we had to nail the ending from an emotional standpoint. It was to be the most important impotent moment for the main character after all. I thought about it for years, daydreaming, and in the end it became my favorite directed sequence in the game. What the fuck? All the different raps with No, you're supposed to obey me, the 12 dead clover. Undertale Yellow is and will always be incredibly special to me. Despite hardships, it gave me some of my best friendships, grew creatively, improved skill sets, improved for people through charity. I got to work alongside amazing artists through thick and thin, persevering to the finish line even. It's given me endless laughter and joy over the years, opportunities I would have never imagined as that 15-year-old playing Undertale for the first time. It changed my life. So were the 8 years worth it? I think so. We set out to do something not many had done, and we made it. A little beaten, bruised, and lacking Dom screen time, but we made it. So I recommend reading this yourself. This was just my reaction. Oh wait, did I say that in this video or the corrupted one? I don't know. Fucking go watch my review or something. I don't know.